Got too much on my plate. That's what people say. That's what people say. I have too many dates on my calendar today. That's what people say. That's what people say. But I keep cruising. Can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I've got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be all right. Cause the play's gonna play. And the haters gonna hate. I'm gonna shake it off. Play's gonna break. Fake is gonna fake. Baby, I'm gonna shake it off. Never miss a beat. Oh, and I'm lying on my feet. That's what they don't do. That's what they don't see. I'm dancing on my own. Makeup moves as I go. And that's what they don't know. That's what they don't know. But I keep cruising. Can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I've got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. Play. And the haters gonna hate. I'm gonna shake it off. Heart's gonna break. I'm gonna shake it off. Hey. Just think, when you get down with all that's going round, you couldn't get down. You can't get down to this great beat. May my head be full of negativity, but all I gotta do is see the light in me. The world may be crazy and full of hate, but I'm gonna dance and I'm gonna shake. Players gonna shake. Players gonna shake. I'm gonna shake. Shake it off. Break is gonna break. Fake is gonna fake. I'm gonna shake. Shake it off. 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 Shake it off.
Good morning. Did you wear a coat? I took it out of the closet. Just in case, because the blood has thinned. just a tad. Did anybody complain about the cooler weather? No. See? One unified voice brings all that we will ever want. You complained? Yes. Well, then move to Georgia or something. I mean, yeah, see, this is good. Well, I don't know. Fort Lauderdale's looking for people. When I moved to Arizona, I lived in Arizona for 2 winters. And that first winter, because in the world of agreement, Arizona equals warm. Florida equals warm. So, warm. So there I am, and we go, we didn't do the weather app, didn't look, We go to open up the door to let the dog out. Oh my God, what's going on? Something's happened. It was 20 degrees. That's what I said. I went, this is not okay. Something's very wrong. And then I realized that's what happens. When that sun goes down, so does the temperature, big time. I mean, it really was. So we had to wear jeans and bring the coats out and the gloves and hats. And I said, okay, God, let me leave Arizona anytime you're ready. I was good with that. Never knowing it would be Florida. Here I am. So let's open in prayer. Let's open in prayer. Because we do know that when we are united in our prayer, all things are possible. There is no limit to the possibilities when we align our mind and our heart and all that we think in God. So we just allow ourselves to be in this moment to know that we are open and receptive to this wonderful guidance that we choose to call God. For God has things planned for us that we never thought possible. But with God, it is possible. So thank you. Thank you, wonderful, sweet Spirit, for being an active part of our lives, our journey, our spiritual awakening. So we welcome the guidance of God, that intuition, that inner voice, that absolute knowingness that we are a child of a loving, caring God. And there's no better place to be than right here, right now. And we know this to be our truth, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Today's a special Sunday. We've, every once in a while, we like to recognize folks that are in total service to our wonderful organization. And so today we're going to be presenting 3 individuals with our service award, volunteer awards, however you want to call them. And so I've invited the 3 of these folks to be here with us today so that you can find out a little bit about them, because in my opinion, these 3 people are in silent, secret service. They just do. And you don't have any idea that they're behind them. You hear about them, and you go, oh, yeah, I know them. But they do so much for us as a community that it is truly priceless. And so our first recipient for this wonderful award is Barbara Richards. Now, Barbara So Barbara, I'm gonna have Joan, who is president of our board, present this to Miss Barbara. And Barbara, most of you know where Barbara lives. She lives in the bookstore, right? So if you want to know more about Barbara, feel free to go in there. Do not bring food, do not bring liquids. She will tell you.
Bring money.
But bring money, cash preferred. Barbara runs our bookstore and has been doing it for 10 years. 10 years. Yeah. So Barbara is priceless to me as the chief operating officer, because when she takes care of the bookstore, that means I don't have to. Because without her and somebody doing what she does, the door's locked, because I can't do it. So I am very grateful, and I know this ministry is. And so you want little stuff, you want stuff to brighten your day, she's got a lot of things going on in that bookstore. Daily Word, every once in a while she throws in a book you might like. And if you know of a spiritual book you'd like to purchase, see her, she'll get it for you. So Miss Barbara, thank you for being in service to us. Yeah. So our next recipient is, if you consider Barbara to be a quiet soul, this next one is quieter. And that is, thank you, Joanne Howard. I'm sure this was a surprise for the three of them. And that's kind of hard to do because, you know, they're here all the time. So that means you can't talk about certain things while they're here. So how many of you folks know Joanne Howard? Oh. Where does she hide? I mean, where does she serve? Yes. Without her, we don't have coffee. Oh, somebody else might pick it up while she's on once in a while. But to know that it's here every single Sunday with no hesitations. She also makes sure that everything is ready for us when we leave the sanctuary for our community gathering. Special events.
I have to let you know that
I've lost control.
a bunch of other people.
Yes, she's not alone. I was going to say it. I was going to.
And I have 5 wonderful people that come every single Sunday. And that one of them is Madeline. Madeline, where are you? Stand up, please. Okay. Madeline is a former, she's my co-team leader, and she's my right hand. And she's a former baker. She and her husband owned a bakery in New York. And when you see the nice presentations, Madeline, okay? Yes. And then I have Kathy. Kathy's a new member who is new to the church, but she's also new to hospitality. And she's such a bubbly, giving person. Everybody loves her, and she brings a little specialness to the kitchen, and she wanted to have some music, so we brought some music into the kitchen, and then that was really great. And then I have, let me see, Sue. Yes, Sue. Sue comes, even regardless of the fact that she's got a bad back, she comes and she is there to serve us, and she's my lemon lady. If you like lemon in your water, she's my lemon lady. I don't want to leave anybody out. I got Kathy. Oh, help me.
See, that's why we don't do this. See, now you're going to forget somebody.
Yes, I have other people that come in once a month, that they come into the kitchen to help me do things. And I've had all these people.
Would everybody in the hospitality, please stand up.
Yes, that'll do it. Okay. If you have ever participated in hospitality with me, please stand up. I want you to see these people. I want you to see these people. Thank you all.
Joanne also has served this past year on the activities committee as well. And what some of you might not know is that she is now a paid contractor for us doing our bookkeeping day-to-day operations within us. So she and I get to spend a lot of time together, and no reservations or visitations. She's a stand up. And our third and final recipient is another very quiet soul. We all know her, but maybe don't have an idea. What? Oh, I want to talk this way. Okay. I've lost control completely. Joan Spires. Joan Spires has been quietly ensuring that this organization's financial picture is intact. She doesn't give us money any more than you guys do, but she does make sure that the IRS, everybody else is not knocking on our doors. So what Joni does, and has been doing it for a bit of time, 10 years. 10 years she's been doing it. She comes in 48 weeks a year and comes in here 2 to 10 hours a week and does our closing of our books, our bank reconciliations, so much that truly you are priceless to me and to this organization. So thank you. And she has served on the board. She's been on the board of directors as well. And again, this is one of those individuals that without her, I have a whole lot to do. So I'm very grateful to you and thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me, someone I've needed so long. For once unafraid, I can go where life leads me. Somehow I know I'll be strong. For once I can touch what my heart used to dream of long before I knew someone like you would make my dreams come true. For once in my life, I won't let someone hurt me, not when it hurts me before. For once in my life, someone I won't desert me. I'm not alone anymore. For once I can say this is mine, you can take it. As long as I know I have love, I can make it. Once in my life, I have someone who needs me. Once I can touch what my heart used to dream of long before I knew someone warm like you would make my dreams come true. For once in my life, I won't let someone hurt me, not when it hurts me before. For once I have someone I know won't desert me. I'm not alone anymore. For once I can say this is mine, I can take it. As long as I know I have love, I can make it. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. Thank you.
Marcella sings just like an angel, and today she looks like one too, doesn't she? Beautiful flowing gown. Yeah. Okay, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we are very welcoming here to all of you. My name is Sandy Baker, and I'm very happy to be your platform server today. This is a really fun day too, because we honor people who have anniversaries in November. If you have a November anniversary, please stand. All right, someone's got to get married in November. Anybody willing? We have a minister? All right, never mind November. Oh, you do?
stand up. Thank you. And how about birthdays in November? Stand up. Woo! To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Now it's time for our community greeting where we hug or have handshakes. Let's go. There will be time later in our community room after the service. You can go back and have a snack, drink something. Well, let's clarify that. I think we have tea, water, and coffee. Unless you BYOB, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so there'll be plenty of time then to visit with one another. Okay, the activities team has planned a really special thing. I've never been to a polo match here. Has anyone else not been besides me? Big chance coming up, you guys. This is so exciting. You know when it is? It is November 15th at 3 in the afternoon. And what we're going to do is have a big, what do you call it? Tailgate party. There it is, right up there. And bring a snack. And I guess we're going to have an expert there to explain to us what's going on. So come in your car, come in your golf cart, just come. And they're selling tickets out there today. So very good. Now, the next thing I want to say that we have a new ministry at this church, and it has never happened in the 10 years I've been here. So I am very excited. And I want Mr. Handyman to stand up because he's already been to my house, and I can't tell you. I don't know. My husband used to be able to fix anything, but I can fix nothing, and he can fix everything. So I'll tell you what, I adore him because he comes and gets her done. Okay. I think there's a sign-up sheet right outside the office if you need help. So Okay, handyman. Boy. And today, I asked 5 different people how to pronounce Daniel's last name. Daniel Named. N- oh, pff, Namad, right? Okay, correct me later. But he is coming um, on November 17th. I've been to 3 of his concerts. He will knock your socks off. I have 4 or 5 of his CDs. I play them in my car all the time. And I think they're on sale today. Not the CDs, the tickets for $20 out in the narthex. How many have been to his concert? Yes. All right. Our musical ministry is forming a Unity Voices choral group for our Christmas season. So you will need to be here on the 22nd, which is a Sunday, and also on Christmas Eve if you want to be able to sing in that. If you haven't sung in a group with Donna before, she's going to have a tryout. So, Donna, stand up so everybody knows who you are. You need to talk to her, and she'll give you a little do re mi to sing and see if you can join us. Our first practice will be today at 11:45 here. Okay. Now, all you women, mark your calendars because this Friday at 1 o'clock is the women's group, and it's really exciting this week. Here's the topic: thriving through difficult times, strategies to survive difficult circumstances. And we have 3 women who are doing this: Jean Klinkenberg, Pat Price, and Nancy Nelson, and they are all dynamite. So this Friday. And then, not to shortchange the men, they will meet on Saturday, following day, at 9 a.m. here. I think it's in the kitchen, right? Or in the community room. Their discussion is based on the Quest, Chapter 2 on Friends. Now, the word is out that we're getting 2 new Christmas trees, big ones. And this year, we don't have enough ornaments, because remember last year, we had a good time decorating. But this time, now we're going to need even more. So kind of go through your Christmas ornaments and see if you want to donate a couple of them. There will be a basket in the narthex. And on not November 1st, December 1st, we will be decorating. So, okay, see, now check your newsletter because there are all kinds of interesting things going on in December. They're going to have an ice cream social. They're going to have a neighborhood appetizer party, a New Year's burning bowl. I mean, there are all kinds of fun things going on in December, as well as November. So we will turn this over now to Steve Camp, who is our prayer chaplain.
Our prayer chaplains in service today have on purple scarves. If you'd like an individual prayer, then they'll be standing up here in the front after the service. The daily word is presented by Unity, and the word for today is healing. It's based upon the Bible verse from Isaiah chapter 58, verse 15. Then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Divine life, the life of God, is always present everywhere. It is the energy that maintains my physical body in perfect balance. Even when I am ill or in pain, divine life is always active, always seeking more complete expression through me. When I feel a need for healing, I gently let go of any thought of illness and give my full attention to the energy of divine life within me. I bless my body and thank it for serving me. As I turn my attention inward and focus on the rhythm of my breath, I become aware of the vibrant energy of divine life active everywhere in my body. I feel this life restoring me to my natural state of wholeness. And together, I let the life of God flow through me now, and I am healed. The power of the month for November is release, also known as renunciation. Our banner here was created by Karen Leonard. It means to let go, denounce, and eliminate. The disciple is Thaddeus, the color is russet, and the location is in the abdominal region. Let us say the affirmation together. I let go of past decisions and am ready to make new choices that better serve all concerned. Now let's focus our attention as we close our eyes on the box up here, the prayer box. And we envision the names of all of those individuals who are on prayer slips that are in the box, as well as those who place those requests in the box. And we hold them all in that truth of who they are, pure spiritual beings, all of their needs already met, already known, as they attract their good and restoration of wholeness, whether it be of mind, body, emotion, or spirit. We know this is true through the teachings of the Christ Jesus, and we are grateful for this knowledge. And so it is. Amen.
One of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us, by and by.
We all know everything without ever knowing why, because it is God. It is God that is moving us through this experience that we call our humanness. So we give ourselves permission to just be here right now, in this moment, to connect with God. So we put ourselves, allowing our lower back to feel the chair, feel the support. And if you're comfortable, put both feet on the ground and our palms up to free flow of God come through us. And we just breathe. We breathe. We breathe in all the attributes of God: love, connectedness, all powerful, all good. We breathe that knowingness into our bodies to infill every vessel, every cell with the goodness of God. And we allow this feeling of our connectedness with God to permeate from our head to our toes. And we exhale all that is not of God: worry, concern. And we just breathe. This month's power is release, letting go, elimination. And we start by eliminating all thoughts that do not lead us to our highest good. When we worry about what is to come, we limit God's good. When we pay too much attention to what has happened, we limit God's good. So we release these thoughts of concern, our thoughts of regret, and we just open our minds and our hearts to all the good that awaits us, even though we don't know what it looks like. For our faith is strong. Our faith says, even though I can't see the future, I know where I'm headed is in my highest and best interest. So I can trust. I can hold my head back, my shoulders back, and say, yes, I am going where my highest good interacts with me. My faith is strong. So I release the negative thoughts. I allow them to be in my past, not in my moment of now. And when they creep in, we just say, no, go away. God and I are in this moment of now, and it is good. I trust my connectedness with God. And I can imagine myself holding this infinite power and presence in my heart. I can see the outpouring of God's love for me. And I allow those thoughts to permeate, where they leave no space for negative regrets or fear or concern. Instead, I fill my heart with this clarity, with this all-knowing purpose that I am connected with God and that nothing can separate me from my good of God. I can allow myself to be grateful for what is coming because it is good. I can trust that all is good in my world. No one and nothing is against me. I am connected with that oneness, that powerful entity that we choose to call God. And so I invite you to get still, to just continue to breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. and allow your heart to feel your connectedness with God. Connect with God in this moment of silence. So we bring ourselves back to this place and time of now, and we gently open our eyes, and together we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
It's black and we're on our way. Before the rising sun, we fly. So many roads to choose. We started walking and learned to run. And yes, we've just begun. Sharing horizons that are new to us. Watching the signs along the way. Talking it over, just the two of us. Working together day to day. Together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow. And yes, we've just begun. Sharing horizons that are new to us. Watching the signs along the way. Talking it over, just the two of us. Working together day to day. Together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow. And yes, we've just begun. Sharing horizons that are new to us. Watching the signs along the way. Talking it over, just the two of us. Working together day to day. Together. together. And when the evening comes, we smile. So much of life ahead. We'll find a place where there's room to grow. And yes, we've just begun. And yes, we've just begun. Thank you.
Haven't we? Do you know this ministry is only 11 years old? That's like a, like really small period of time. And how much we've grown, not just in numbers, although that's a nice measurement, but how much we've grown spiritually in that small number, no small number of years. So many things to be grateful for. We're in week 2 of 5 in our prosperity series from the Prosperity book by Charles Fillmore. We're in chapter 9 and the road to prosperity. So if you want to know more about what I'm going through and what I'm talking about, just feel free to get that book from Barbara in the bookstore, right? As well as you can get it online. TruthUnity.org is a really good resource for just about anything you need unity-wise. It's a great website, and most things are all free on the website. So if you wanted a PDF of the book, you could. And of course, if you want to hit the Donate Now button for that website to keep doing what they're doing, it's there for you to do it. So this chapter, The Road to Prosperity, it actually begins with a word in front of it, and that is tithing, the road to prosperity. But see, I learned a long time ago I'm not supposed to talk about giving. I'm not supposed to ask the congregation for money. I learned that a long time ago. How many of us had that happen a lot to us? Where you came into church and they passed the envelope around and then it would go again because of this program or that program, right? And some of us left those traditional churches because of that. It was like all about the money. So I'm not going to do that unless I do. But my intention is good in this process. Because the truth is that this church, this spiritual home, does not need additional money. That's the truth. And those of you that were here for the town hall meeting, we're in the black, right? It's a beautiful thing to be. It is. It is. And we're debt-free. Last week our talk was about staying out of debt, using the principles to do that. So we as a spiritual community are out of debt. And what I know, and just in the world of agreement, that when the spiritual community is out of debt, that means there's an awful lot of you that are also out of debt. Yay. It's a beautiful thing, beautiful place to be. But also in the world of agreement is you can't pay the electricity bill with thoughts. You need money to do it. It's just the way it goes. So Joan Pete and I are in the process of creating our budget for next year. Right? So in church, it's kind of a pie in the sky thing. Well, how much money do you think we'll bring in next year? I don't know. How much do you think we'll bring in? I don't know. Maybe this much. I don't know. Maybe not the. It's tough. It's tough in this business to know. Because in order for us to know, we can't plan unless we know. And we don't know, so how do we plan? But we plan anyway. So it's just like, what? So the road to prosperity lesson really brought this mindset up for me, and a lot of thoughts were going through it. And I said, okay, I'm good. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So I got an email this morning. And some of you, actually, someone else shared with me this morning. Somebody, Tina. I thought it was okay if I said that. Too late now. Meant to ask you earlier. I got an email this morning saying, thank you for your gift. Because I had an automatic giving process set up. And so money was taken out of my account and given to my source of giving. Make sense? Okay? And I went, oh, cool, done. That was my immediate thought. And I went, awesome. I didn't have to remember my checkbook. I didn't have to remember, where am I going? Who am I giving it to? What do my finances look like? I know that this money's coming out. It's planning, right? We all do it in a lot of different ways, right? So I just know that I don't have to worry about it. And I'm grateful because gratitude is one of the gifts that we have when we're able to freely give. So I'm always grateful. Oh, yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. And so we're learning in this process that we're going through into minister-centric to mission-centric. In minister-centric, the minister says, we need X number of dollars in order to operate this business, and we need you guys to give more money. And those of you that are giving a lot, we need you to give more. That's minister-centric. Mission-centric is a whole different way of viewing our prosperity. I mean, it is different. As of today, and I invite you to do the same, will no longer be using the word tithe. What does tithe mean to you? Giving 10%. If you want to know more about tithing, those of you that don't know it, read Malachi. He was really into it. Okay? He really wrote it down, and our traditional churches really hit Malachi and say, see, you need to do this. It says it right here. We're going to use the word giving. Changes, doesn't it? Changes this little core of our being. Because we've been taught that when you come into a spiritual community, bring your checkbook with. Because they're either going to ask you for money or they're going to pass the hat. Silver bowl, red basket, right? So you'll notice when we have guests for the first time, we've been doing it now for a couple of months, we invite them to not put anything in the basket because they're our guest. So we've also changed a little nuance, a little verbiage here too. They're no longer considered visitors, but guests, because we psychologically treat guests differently than visitors. It's real subtle. How many of you are guests today? Oh, come on. I saw you, a bunch of you walk in. I'm not going to call on you, I promise. The point being is that we want our guests to feel welcome, don't we? We want the toilet cleaned. We want the cookies and milk out there. That's what we do for our guests, right? So we prepare that. We prepare this home for them to feel welcome. So we put guest parking out front, right? So that they feel welcome and they're not finding, well, I don't know where to park. Do you think I can park? You see, we make them feel at home. So giving back to our home is a natural flow. It's a natural flow. We've got bills to pay, right? Everybody's got them. So we can't operate without the real cash. So in mission-centric, we deal with that through a giving. And we move from receivership to ownership. You see, because we've been taught when you receive something, you give something in church. So we've even been taught that you give to the source of your spiritual growth. How many of you have heard that language? Yeah, me too. Great program, but it no longer works. The millenniums and the Generation X, they give freely from what they want to see more of. Big difference in language. It's real subtle. So when we choose to freely give, we're saying, I have already received so much from it, I want others to get it as well. rather than I'm going to give because I got from it. See the difference? It's a conscious choice and a change in our thinking. And that's the road to prosperity. So we figured it out. Our expenses are roughly without the mortgage, right? Well, because we don't have that. We don't have to pay the mortgage tax. We're about $200,000 a year in expenses. Not too shabby for all that we have. And it's going to cost us about $230,000 to maintain this beautiful building of ours, which I won't use the word neglecting. We've been putting it on the back burner because we had a mortgage to pay. Now that we're done, we have projects around here that are starting to call out their names, right? So the board is coming up with a 5 projects that we would like to do next year. And we're doing that based on priorities. What has to get done? Because if we don't, we're going to do this or whatever, right? So sometimes projects we didn't even know needed to be done presented themselves because now our eyes are open to it, right? Remember how that goes? You're looking for a car and you find that car and then you see it on every street corner, okay? So as soon as the board opened up their mind to, oh my God, we have things to do here, boy, the list. So we realized we had to slim it down to what was important to us. Saw the sidewalks today? Right? Yeah. Well, we wrote a check for that, right? And the funny thing is, somebody came to me and said, hey, Mo, just, it'd be nice if we had a sidewalk in here. And I'm seeing dollar signs. And I went, yeah, that'd be nice too. And I'm thinking, yeah, later, some other day. I'm going to give you a donation to help with it. Whoa, back up. Because now I've got red flags everywhere. Because as the chief operating officer, I'm seeing somebody telling us what the priority is. See? And I had to whoa, okay, wait, hang on. No. And they were very clear and very conscious. And we had an honest conversation. They said, this is something I see as a project, but here's the money. And if the church doesn't see this as a priority, just put it in the general fund. Big difference. And so then I was able to see, well, this project, do we need it? And then, like everything else, I remembered coming around the corner, hitting the tree, the branches were hitting the top of my car. I remember coming around going, oh, break, people are crossing the street. How many of you done that? Come around that corner, right? Beautiful place to be, but if you're half asleep, stuff happens. And then I remember getting out of the truck going, oh, I hope I didn't do it. I remember getting out of the truck going, oh boy, I hope that grass isn't wet today. Or it's muddy. Or the fire ants, they got me one week. Right? So when this was presented to us about the sidewalks, it became a priority. And it moved up the scale because we were able to reduce the expense of it. So instead of writing a $5,000 check, we wrote a $3,000 check. And we got the project done. Right? Beautiful thing. So that's kind of how we're going to be looking at our projects. What's the priority and where does it all come from? So the notion that we've paid off our mortgage and you get to give less, I'd like you to eliminate that from your thinking. Okay? Renunciation. Just let that thought go away. We want you to contribute because you've been transformed in your ministry. Last week, we had Steve Camp give our first transformational story. And he shared about an experience that he received here and how he shifted with the principles that he's learning into a clarity and a newfound awareness for him. So every month, we're going to have somebody share that transformational story for them. Because we've all found a clarity of God here. However it's defined, and each of us is very uniquely in that story. When I go to the community room on Sundays, boy, Boy, do I have to keep my minister cap on, right? Because people share with me from their heart. And there are so many of you that have beautiful stories to share. Now, some of us don't like to get up here and speak. Yeah, but they have beautiful stories to share. Next month's story is from an individual who is not very good at public speaking. Do we care? No. We're not even going to judge this. We're not going to make that person feel silly, look silly, none of that. It's going to be well received because it's a genuine, heartfelt story from that person that they want to share with you. Because this church transforms lives. That's what we do. And we're good at it. And in that transformation, don't we want the guests who are here to know that that's what we do? We transform lives, even if it's a little thing. Because those little things could absolutely transform a person's life. You'll hear a story and go, oh my God, that is so petty. It wasn't for them. Because we are all unique individuals, right? Now, it'd be nice, it'd be a wonderful thing if all we needed to do was get hit by the proverbial 2x4 in the backside and we were transformed. That's painful. Some of us have done it that way on certain things, like a sudden divorce. Boom, you're like, holy moly, didn't see that coming. Yeah, but with God, it's a subtle way that we transform our lives. The little nuances of our thinking, the way we shift from a negative thought and turn it around into a positive thought, the way we start to embrace each other, the whole below the line. Above the line means we're doing the right thing. Below the line means, not so much. And so it's not made to make anybody feel wrong. It's to make us aware that, you know what? The words that just came out of my mouth might not have been as nice as they could have been. That's a transformation. Little, but big. When somebody hears you apologize to them for what you said, it's huge to the other person. They get to see that the press is wrong. This is a good, generous community. One of the finest communities I've ever worked with. You guys are absolutely caring, generous, present. You give up your time, your talent, and your treasures. It's wonderful. And so the process is shifting from what you've received to what you want others to receive. And in order for us to do that, we've got to pay the electricity bill. It's not rocket science. So we're doing well, but the road to prosperity is about shifting. That we want this transformational process to be felt by more and more people in this room and those that haven't arrived yet. Make sense? So there's been this notion that the measure of RevMo's success is the number of people in the seats and the dollars that are in. It's a great way to measure a minister's success, right? Not so much. Because my job isn't about the people who haven't come in the door yet. My job is to make sure that those that are in the door get transformed. Now, I can't make it, can I? I'd like to sometimes, you know. But I can't. You have to want this. You have to want to be transformed. You have to want to say, there's an area of my life that I don't particularly enjoy. I'd like it to be a little differently. What can I do about that? And how does it relate to my spiritual unfoldment? And that's what I hope you get on Sundays. And how do you measure that when you go to evaluate a minister? So immediately the board looks at, well, the numbers are going down. You better do something about it. It's not my job. It's not in my job description to increase the numbers of people coming here, but I sure love it when we're full. You know, it makes me feel good. But it's not about me. When your life is transformed by what you've received here and you share that with other people, they will come. That's how it's done. It's simple. It's not rocket science. You simply share who you are. And you are a child of a loving, caring God, and you know it. Charles Fillmore tells us that there's 3 ways to look at your giving. You have to be willing to not give because you're supposed to. Although if that's where you are, please continue to give. But if you're not, take a look at your willingness. Are you willing to have other people's lives be transformed by what you are about to receive or what you have already received? He also mentions that it's done in faith. What you do give is done in faith, knowing that that giving is being used in the best and right manner possible. You trust that. And the third is just and fair. Now, he mentions just and fair because he's coming from the tithing mentality. What's just and fair? How do you define that? And those 2 words, justice and fair, change depending on who you're speaking to. And so you look it up in Webster, and it's a lot of different ways to view that. What's just and fair in your mind is the question. What gifts would you like to see and give to this ministry with no strings attached? Just the knowingness that it will go to where it is best needed. Does that make sense? But first of all, just be willing to take a look at your giving. Just be willing. You know, it's kind of like when you suddenly realize that God is asking you to do something you would prefer not to do, and you get okay with it, and then you find out you don't have to do it. But when we fight it, God says, let me know when you're all that, right? So the process for us here is we have a system in place that is a dynamite program, and it's called Tithely. How many of you are familiar with Tithely? How many of you use Tithely? Okay. Tithely's awesome. Tithely's the one that sent me the email this morning to tell me, thank you for your gift. And it's a simple online process. So instead of you coming in with your checkbook or making sure you hit the ATM, whatever your process is, you can go to tithely.com and say, you know what? What's fair and just in my life right now is this amount of money, whatever it is. And you get to decide, do you want to do that weekly, monthly, annually, quarterly, whatever. It gives you options. Frank Masaka, our new handyman ministry, right? There's a place on Tithely because he's never going to ask you for money when he comes and does your handiwork. Did you hear that? Uh-huh. Yeah. He's going to say, go to the Tithely app and scroll down, and you're going to see handyman ministry. Feel free to give what you think is just and fair for what you just received. Some will, some won't, some will. And in that, you have also another wonderful option. Once you become willing and you go to the app and you decide how much you're going to give, you get to also decide if you'd like to pay the credit card charges that are associated with your giving. How cool is that? It's kind of cool. I chose to have the credit card fees covered. It's a small amount. And the good news is, Joni just taught me this. So I give X number of dollars, and in that process, I also pay the credit card fees. It's small, whatever it is. I get to claim that as part of my giving, the amount that I paid for the credit card fees. I think that's kind of cool. So I'm giving more than I thought. Does that make sense? Little things, the little things. So in our process of creating a budget, if 80% of our giving was all done through Tithely on a regular automatic basis, we would know how to budget. We'd know. Instead, every Sunday we go, gee, I wonder what will happen today. Jeepers. And then, of course, we have the IRS, which who doesn't love the IRS? We all love the IRS. You have to say that out loud or you get troubled, right? Because how much have we heard on the news? The rich don't have to pay any taxes. I am mad about that. Wrong. The IRS code gives them that advantage. If we don't like it, change the IRS code. It's not them. They have the ability to know and understand that the IRS says, I can do this, and then I don't have to do that. As a minister, I have a lot of perks for the IRS, and I bless the IRS every day because it's a beautiful thing for me. So the IRS has developed in just the last couple of years that if you give to a charitable organization if you give it prior to you owning that money, you don't have to pay taxes on that withdrawal from your 401k, your investments. How many of you take advantage of that? There's quite a few of you here. So every once in a while, we'll open up the mail and hey, there's a check. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So we bless the IRS for these privileges rather than knocking them down. So my point being is that in your giving process, be willing to take a look at it and make good use of the Tithely app. It's a great system. You can now get up in the morning and not worry about, oh God, I forgot the checkbook. Oh, jeepers, right? And when you do forget the checkbook, I don't know about you, but I tend to forget that later on I forgot to give that check that week. Next week I'll do it. And then next week comes, I'm just going to. The inconsistent giving creates havoc for us to be able to budget. But it's the nature of the beast, right? So the road to prosperity, lesson 9 with Charles Fillmore, is about the giving that you have an opportunity for. You've received already. Now it's time to give so that the programs we offer here can be expanded for others to get the transformation that you've already received or are in the process of receiving. See the difference? When we move to full ownership, and this is the last point I'm going to make, so you knew I was wrapping it up. I wanted you to know that. Is at some point in time, and I'd like it to be sooner than later, when we pass the basket around, imagine this for just one moment. We pass the basket around, which we will always continue to do because where 2 or more are gathered together, pass the hat. Everybody knows that in church. The point being is that when we pass the hat, the money that's received will go to our partners. Because instead of tithing, the church tithing, we're now going to develop transformational partners. Organizations that we feel strongly about, that we want to further their transformation of other people's lives as well. So can you imagine that the Tithely system allows us to have our day-to-day expenses met with no hesitations? We see the money coming in, the bills are paid, this is wonderful, and anything above that will go to our transformational partners. And the board's going to be developing who those partners are. And it's a flex. We can change it depending on where we are and what we're doing, right? Imagine that our day-to-day expenses are accounted for through an app. Now, I know the community I'm dealing with, and some of us don't like apps. I get it. I do get it. So Stormy, back there, everybody know Stormy? He's going to stand up because that's Stormy. He's our app guru. And because I've already used the app, I also can help people. So if your willingness is there, but your technology skills are lacking, see Stormy and we'll walk you through that. So the technology is not the reason you say no to using it. Does that make sense? So I don't want an outside factor to be the reason. If you're willing, we'll walk you through it. Because the more and more we use that system, the more and more this organization can be readily prepared to continue to transform lives through programs that we do not even know about yet. Because God has not revealed them to us because we're busy paying our bills. Make sense? So we've passed the first hurdle. We're out of debt. Amen. The second hurdle is to have a consistent ownership here rather than receivership. To say, I own this place, and as an owner, I give X number of dollars so that I can trust and have faith in my board of directors and in the chief financial officer of this organization to transform lives just like I've been transformed. Ain't it cool? The potential is really, it's a big deal. And it's the step in the right direction. So I didn't ask you for money, did I? I didn't ask you for money, did I? I need you to do that because the parking lot talk's going to say that, oh, all she did was ask for money today. It's just like all the other places. Do not do that. I asked you for a willingness to take a look at becoming an owner of this organization. Very different. You have stock in this organization. And the benefits and the number of stocks you own, I have to shift gears, is up to you. What's your ownership level? You get to decide that. God bless you, and don't hesitate to call on me and say, what did you mean? Okay? Because I know this could be a little bit heady. But the important part is opening the door to a willingness to shift from receivership to ownership. That's the big picture. God bless you. Godspeed. Did you get a welcome packet? Did we treat you right at the front door? That's half the battle, right? You know where the ladies' room is? We're good? The men's room? No? Somebody hold that person's hand, show them. Let me tell you a little bit about us. Because unity is a positive, practical approach to Christianity. We believe that God is good. We believe it, rather than what you may have been taught. And it's based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer and meditation. Unity honors the universal truths in all religions and respects each individual's rights to choose a spiritual path. That's who we are. So I'd like to extend our prayer for protection for our new folks today. So if we could do that together. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you as you. And so it is. Thank you, sir.
Prayer. Await to the divine love as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
Oh, heavenly Spirit, which in love abideth, we worship thee, we praise thy holy name. Teach us thy children evermore to love thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Teach us thy children evermore to love thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Oh, give us grace to meet the coming morrow. Forgive our errors as others we forgive. Thou leave us not, thy children in temptation, delivers us. Thine is the kingdom, thine the power and glory, world without end, forevermore. Amen.
Okay. All right. Join me in saying the prayer. Divine Spirit, we are truly grateful for the opportunity to share the abundance with which we have been blessed.
Thank you. Please stand while we sing our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. And please begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Sound guys and ladies, please leave all this on. Appreciate it. If there's anyone here that wants to be part of the Unity Voices and has not sung with us before,